I was there 3 months from Nashville, Tennessee, and I remember one night we would do comedy, then we'd always go eat at like a diner really late. And one night I'm sitting, I go to this diner, I'm sitting in the back, and this guy walks in with a seeing-eye dog, but he's like pretending to be blind, like he's not. Like I'm really good at telling when people are fake blind, and I was like, this guy's not blind, you know. He walked in, he made a big announcement to it. He's like, hey, I'm blind, everybody, I'm blind. And then he started just knocking everything off everybody's table. Like, oh, I wish I could see what's going on, but I can't because I'm blind. And he had a seeing-eye dog. He was leading the dog around the whole time. The dog never got in front of him. And I was like, it doesn't work like that, you know? Like, I don't think the dog builds confidence and is like, do some of these on your own. I just want to see, you know, if you get it, like, So I'm watching all this happen. I'm getting pretty upset about it, you know, because I just moved to the north from the south, so I still cared about people. And I was like, I gotta do something, you know. And so they kick him out. So they kick him out, and they get us outside. And I go out there. I look. I was like, all right, let me go. In my Mayberry head, I think this is New York's biggest problem. And I go over to him. I was like, what's wrong with you, man? Like, why would you pretend to be blind? Like, how would you feel if you really were blind? And he was like, how would you feel if you were blind? I was like, what does that even mean? And then he sprayed me with mace. And he was so accurate. You know, it wasn't like, oh, I hope I get him. It was both eyeballs. The bridge of my nose wasn't even wet. That's how good he was. And when you're with mace, you can see for a second. And I remember, like, I was like sitting there, and I look up, and he runs across the street, and he gets hit by a cab. For real, it wasn't bad. Like the cab, like just kind of bumped in. I mean, it wasn't good, but it wasn't, you know, like he's fine. I think he's fine. He could see after. No, I don't know. But he falls into the sidewalk. But I remember like thinking, I was like, I saw that cab. Like he definitely should have seen it, you know. So it was like, all right. I mean, odds are he's probably blind, you know. It's his first day or something. I don't know. Like maybe he's going through a lot, and I should have just backed up. Everybody asked too. They're like, oh, was it? They would one another. Like, would you get sprayed with pepper spray or mace? And it's like, you know, I don't know what kind of life are you living if you could tell the difference. If I knew something, I don't know. Could have been hairspray. I don't know. 1979. And the reason I say that, because if you are my age or just right around my age, very like maybe 78 to 80, you might realize, or maybe you don't know, I've never been called a millennial or Generation X. I've never even really heard any of those terms growing up. And now you hear them all the time. So I looked it up to try to see, I was like, what am I? And I'm technically nothing. I'm on a cusp. I'm a generation gap. And what we are called Zennials, or we're called the Oregon Trail generation, or we are called, my favorite name is the lucky ones. And it's true, we're very lucky. We actually grew up in two different worlds. When I was a kid, I grew up like it was the 50s. Like you would go out and your parents just didn't know where you were. We went to school and played Oregon Trail on a computer at school. No one had a computer at home. It's like, what are you, a zillionaire? Like, I mean, you could. But then in high school, I had AOL. You know, we had a computer at home. Then I got a beeper, and then I got a cell phone. I didn't have social media until I was 26 with MySpace. You know, I mean, social media, like, whatever I did in high school is a rumor. It can't ruin my life. So if you're around my age, you might realize, like, you just end up always kind of being in the middle. Like, I understand when a Gen Xer says something, you're like, I get it. And Millennial says something, you're like, no, I get it. You always just feel in the middle. And these groups all hate each other. And the most I've ever felt where I was in the middle was just this one hotel that I stayed at. So a lot of hotels now, they have Chromecast, and you can watch like Netflix in your hotel room. So I get in my room, and I turn it on, and my Chromecast is not working. So I called down to the front desk, and the oldest voice I ever heard answered the phone. This guy was a Civil War survivor. I mean, he was the age where you just go, thank you for your service. And it's like, I was in the Army, you're like, probably, man. I mean, there's an age where like they all had to go at that age, so just say it. So I tell him, I go, hey, my Chromecast is not working. And I could have just made up a word. I mean, he's never heard of that. I could have said, Bob broke. I mean, he asked if I was staying at that hotel. That's how he goes, are you staying here? I was like, do you think I've called the front desk from a different hotel room? So he goes, look, I don't know what this is, but there's a younger guy here. Send him up. He'll be able to help you. And I was like, great. So that guy comes up, and he knocks on my door. I open it. He's my dad's age. And I mean, right when I see him, you're like, all right, dude, we don't have to do this. You know, I know you've heard of it, but you're not, if I can't fix it, you're not going to be able to fix it. But he's the generation that still wants to give it a try. So I got to let him in. So he's in, comes to my room, sits on my bed, a little too far back, I thought. I just remember like the back of his calves were touching the bed, and I was like, are your feet dangling? How far back are you going to go? Are you cold? You want some covers, man? He gets the remote and just starts pressing all the buttons. And I said, I don't know how to do it. And he goes, let's just keep trying it, though. I go, all right. I'm going to turn the shower on, open a window. Let's try everything. You know, let's just see. Maybe it turns on. Who knows? Maybe it's all connected. So we can't get it. And he goes, all right. He goes, there's a younger guy. He's about to come to work. At this point, I'm like, I'm the younger guy, man. I was like, it's all right, dude. I don't need it. And he goes, no, it's a millennial. I was like, all right, now we're getting somewhere, you know? This is what the millennial does. He was born with technology. He's going to fix this. I was excited. I was like, great. He goes, he comes to work in an hour. I go, wonderful. And let me tell you, you know how quick that millennial fixed it? Well, I'll never know because he just didn't come to work that night. So... didn't call in, nothing. And I found out because the old guy called me because he was supposed to fill in for him. He was furious, dude. He hates that millennial. He goes, he never comes to work. He doesn't take it serious. He's got a peanut allergy. And I was like, all right, well. I ended up fixing it myself because it was just unplugged. So that's my fault. I played baseball too when I was 13. I was playing baseball, and one time I was up to bat, and I get walked. So I take my base, I get to first base, I turned around, and the catcher was still standing there, and he was holding the ball. He's like staring at me, like he was like daring me to run, like he was like, go, I bet you can't make it. And I was like, all right, man, I'm gonna go. So I just ran. When I ran, he threw it to second base. Ball goes in the outfield. So then I run to third base. The outfield grabs the ball. They overthrow third base. My third base telling me to go home. This is about to be an inside the park home run off a walk. I'm gonna be on SportsCenter. This is the biggest thing that's ever happened in baseball. I slide, there's a play at the plate, and that's when the umpire tells us that it was only ball 3. I swear. It's a true story. So, we all have to get up. I'm like dirty for no reason. I gotta go get my bat. It's right where I left it. I gotta just drag. I gotta bat again. It's 3 balls, 2 strikes. Next pitch, immediately out. I'm exhausted and over baseball. And I just looked at the ump and he was like, you can go now. I learned though that day, I learned that if you're confident, you can get away with quite a bit. Because no one tried to stop me, and they should have, you know? They knew I wasn't supposed to go. That's why the catcher was holding the ball, because he was like, I don't supposed to be going yet, right? And then I just ran to second. He's like, I'm wrong. No one's that dumb, you know? And then he just launched to the outfield, who's barely paying attention. They think it's a hit, and the umpire figures it out. It's just easier to let me get all the way back to him, you know? Let me feel what it would feel like. You know what was great too? No one ever told the parents. They never explained it. They were cheering. It's a pretty exciting play to watch. And then they just see me slide into home and then just stand up and bat again. They just are like, is that just a rule in baseball? I don't even know. When I first moved to New York, we went to Europe last year. Europe's very old. That's what I learned last time in Europe. Like, because you think we're old as a country, and you get there and you're like, good night. You know, how long have y'all been over here? Australia, very far away. Farther than I thought. Our Earth, a little bigger than I thought it was. And I think we should have went the other way as well, but the pilot had different plans. I had jet lag there. I did not mind it because I woke up at 5:45 a.m. and I don't ever wake up that early. So it was like a new life, you know? I was like first in line at the breakfast buffet.
Here's what I'll tell you. If you get up at 5:45 a.m., noon is pretty far away, though. I mean, I thought you bet your life, and it's maybe 8:30. Like, 6 p.m., you're like, I don't know how people are out.
How are they doing this?
What are they doing? Why won't the sun go down?
This is it. This is, it's something. Thank you guys for coming out. Appreciate it. Very excited. I tried to, I'm always like trying to lose weight, and then like you think, I'll tape a special. That will, that'll do it. And then you just kind of, next thing you know, it's already started. So, I had a thing that happened. One of the first things they had to do, car manufacturers, before crash test dummies were invented, they would use a pig in a car wreck. So they'd sit a pig, I guess upright. And this little pigs are smart. Pretty good day for this pig. You gonna let me drive a car? Pretty fun day. He's got his elbow out. Are y'all kidding me right now? You gonna let me drive this car? I don't even know what that shows you. Pigs don't have necks. That's what I was around when I was growing up. I mean, I look at my daughter and I have more in common with a pilgrim. And pilgrims believed in witches.